The terminal is a river of movement. Thousands of boots strike the polished floor in a relentless, rhythmic pulse. The air is thick, saturated with the sharp, bitter scent of burnt coffee and the stale heat of recycled ventilation. You are just another body in the flow, eyes fixed on the departure boards, mind calculating the next connection. Then, the current breaks. A man stops directly in your path. He does not reach out. He does not ask for the time or a spare coin. He stands perfectly still, a static point in the rushing crowd. You stop, forced to pivot to avoid a collision. He locks eyes with you. His gaze is heavy. He speaks a single sentence, a specific, buried detail about a choice you made years ago. The words land with the weight of a physical blow. Before you can process the implication, he turns. He steps into the dense, churning mass of commuters. You lunge forward, shoulder-checking a businessman, desperate to catch a glimpse of that gray coat, scanning the crowd, seeking that one still form. The crowd is a chaotic blur of motion, yet he is gone. It is physically impossible. He could not have cleared the gate, nor slipped into a shop, nor vanished behind a pillar in 3 seconds. You stand in the center of the walkway, the current of commuters parting around you like water around a stone. The noise of the terminal returns, but it sounds distant, hollow, as if you are listening to it from underwater. You look at your hands, then back at the spot where he stood. The floor is empty. The air is still. You are standing in the same terminal as before, but the ground beneath you no longer feels solid. That unsettling sensation, the feeling that the fabric of your world has torn, is not new. Humanity has chased these messengers for millennia, trying to name the force that interrupts our trajectory. We look for answers in the dust of ancient languages. Take the Greek angelos. It does not describe a creature of feathers and light. It describes a function. It is a courier, a bringer of news, a point of contact. Look further back to the Hebrew malach. The root is the same. It is a task, a mission, a bridge. When we strip away the centuries of art, the soft wings, the glowing halos, we find something far more kinetic. These were never meant to be distant, decorative beings. They were the mechanism by which the divine touched the human. You are looking for the bridge itself, the structural link that allows the infinite to speak directly into the finite. To understand this bridge, we must look to ancient Persia. The Zoroastrians did not view these messengers as occasional visitors. They spoke of the Fravashis, personal spirits assigned to every soul at the moment of birth. Think of the Fravashi as a spiritual blueprint, a guardian tethered to your existence from the very first breath. These were not distant deities residing in the clouds, indifferent to your daily failures. They were intimate allies, locked into the specific, messy reality of your life. They existed to navigate the friction of your choices. In the Zoroastrian worldview, life is a constant, grinding struggle between order and chaos. The Fravashi is the internal anchor in that storm. It is the force that pushes back against the entropy of your own mind. It does not simply watch, it participates. You are engaging with your Fravashi, the silent partner in your ongoing war against the chaos that threatens to pull you apart. This concept of an internal guide echoes across the ancient world, taking different forms but pointing toward the same necessity. Consider the Egyptian Ba. It was visualized as a bird soul, a vital essence that leaves the body during sleep to traverse the hidden realms between worlds. It is the part of you that remains awake while your physical form rests, gathering wisdom from the unseen. But the Romans took this further with the geniuses. This was not a spirit assigned from outside, but a divine spark unique to every person, born with you and dying with you. It was the source of your character, your talent, and your drive. The Romans understood that this spark was not a passive gift, it was a demand. If you ignored your genius, if you let it go cold, you withered. Your life became a series of hollow repetitions, a slow decay of purpose. Courageously act. Fulfill destiny's call. You either aligned your actions with this inner fire, or you allowed the flame to extinguish. This was the ultimate responsibility, to recognize the spark. The most striking example of this internal guidance comes from the philosopher Socrates. He spoke of a daimonion, a voice that did not command him toward specific goals, but instead warned him away from folly. While his peers looked to the laws of the city or the dictates of tradition to define their morality, Socrates looked inward. He operated on a frequency only he could hear. This was not a set of rigid rules etched into stone. It was a living, breathing intuition. It intervened at the precise moment he veered toward error. When he stood at the threshold of a mistake, the daimonion would stop him. It was a negative constraint, a subtle pull that kept his path clear of the debris of bad judgment. Socrates did not follow the crowd, and he did not follow the common logic of his time. He followed the frequency. He proved that a life guided by this internal signal is not chaotic, but profoundly ordered, anchored by a truth that exists beneath the surface. Modern psychology provides a name for this persistent inner pressure. James Hillman called it the acorn theory. Imagine every human life as a seed that already contains the blueprint of the oak tree it is destined to become. You are not a blank slate waiting for the world to write upon you. You are an oak tree in seed form, and your daimon is the force pushing you to break through the shell. This process is rarely comfortable. The ego wants to stay small, to remain in the safety of the soil, protected from the wind and the exposure of the open sky. It craves the familiar, the predictable, and the stagnant. But the daimon is a radical agent of change. It exerts a constant, quiet pressure, demanding that you expand beyond the limits of your current self. It only cares for the realization of the form you are meant to inhabit. Intuition cracks open acorn. It is the force of your own soul refusing to be contained by the smallness of your ego, pushing you toward the light of your own potential. This internal pressure manifests in the most tangible shifts of your life. It is not a theoretical exercise. It is the sudden, sharp intuition that renders your current career path impossible to endure for one more day. You wake up, and the office that felt secure yesterday now feels like a cage. You do not analyze the decision. You simply pack your desk and walk out. Or consider the inexplicable pull to leave your home city. You have a lease, a routine, and a circle of friends, yet a singular, quiet command takes root in your chest. You find yourself looking at maps of places you have never visited, feeling a magnetic tug that defies all logic. When you follow this, you are not being reckless. You are responding to the daimon. The world will tell you to stay quiet, to be sensible, and to maintain the status quo. It will label your departure as a crisis. But you know the truth. This is the moment the shell finally gives way. You are not losing your mind. You are finally aligning your external reality with the blueprint hidden within you. These moments of disruption are the daimon at work. But the path of the daimon is not without its precipice. There is a shadow that follows every light, and it begins the moment you stop listening and start claiming. Ego inflates, not guidance. Intuition's nudge becomes ego's delusion. You begin to believe that the wisdom flowing through you belongs to you. The air in the room feels thinner, sharper. You stand a little taller, speak with a certainty that borders on the divine, and watch as the world begins to mirror your own self-importance. Ego's horizon swells, a monument. It is a subtle, intoxicating shift. You stop serving the truth and start serving the image of the truth you have constructed. You're the sun, blind to the voice that freed you. And in that moment, the connection to the divine begins to fray, leaving you alone with a grandiosity that promises everything but delivers only the hollow echo of your own name. This is the domain of Lucifer, the light-bearer, who serves as the ultimate warning against the inflation of the self. When you claim the light as your own, you do not become divine. You become a closed loop. The tension becomes unbearable. You find yourself in a room full of people, yet you are entirely alone, trapped behind a wall of your own making. You speak, but you are only listening for the sound of your own voice. You act, but only to reinforce the pedestal you have built. The truth that once moved you forward now becomes a weapon to defend your status. You feel the weight of this grandiosity in your chest. It is the suffocation of the soul. You are no longer serving the path. You are serving the reflection. Every decision is filtered through the need to maintain this false height. You ignore the synchronicities. You dismiss the quiet nudges. The light you once carried has turned into a blinding glare, obscuring everything else. You are standing at the edge of a precipice. The pedestal shatters, and in the debris, the inner critic wakes. It does not whisper. It dissects. It points to every past mistake, every failed ambition, and every moment you chose comfort over courage. This voice is not a guide. It is a parasite. It feeds on your fear, promising you the power of control. It tells you that you are unworthy, that your isolation is a shield, and that your grandiosity was the only thing keeping the world at bay. Intuition fades. Critic floods mind. These thoughts promise you a throne, yet they deliver only a cage. You sit in the dark, clutching these hollow promises. The critic demands you stay small, stay bitter, and stay silent. It turns your own history into a weapon. You are fighting a war against a ghost that knows every one of your vulnerabilities. And for now, the ghost is winning. The critic screams, but you stop listening. You do not argue. You do not defend. You simply breathe. The silence in the room becomes heavy, pressing against your eardrums until the static of your own thoughts finally snaps. For the first time in years, the noise dies. You look at the blank page in front of you, or the empty chair across from you, and the old patterns that once dictated your every move lose their gravity. They are just habits, not laws. You feel the shift in your chest, a loosening of the iron bands that kept your truth buried. It is not a grand revelation of light, but a quiet, steady pulse of recognition. You see the mistake you made, a fracture, not a punishment. Ego's shell cracks, leaving behind a cold, clear space. You pick up the pen, or you open your mouth, and the words that come out are not rehearsed. Just as the truth settles, the air in the room changes. It grows thin, sharp, and cold. You do not see a figure, but you feel the presence of Azrael. The angel of death does not arrive with a scythe or a shadow. He arrives as a sudden, absolute stillness. He is the ultimate messenger, and his arrival is a physical blow to the chest. The breakthrough you just achieved, the new name you gave yourself, the plans you began to form, they all shrink. Azrael does not come to destroy your work. He comes to remind you that the clock is running. Every heartbeat is a countdown. The urgency is not a panic, but a clarifying light. You look at your hands, at the walls of the room, at the life you have built, and you realize they are temporary. The finite nature of your existence is no longer a source of dread. It is the fuel for your next move. Azrael demands an immediate accounting. The illusion of forever dissolves. You are standing on the edge of a cliff, and for the first time, you understand that the fall is not the end. It is the only way to prove you were ever truly alive. The presence does not leave. It demands more. You try to retreat, to return to the safety of your own thoughts. Air thickens. Gravity defied. It is like wrestling in the dark, where every move you make is met with an equal, immovable force. You push, but the resistance holds. You pull, but the weight is absolute. Your muscles ache. Your breath comes in ragged gasps, and the room seems to dissolve into a void of pure kinetic friction. Old self versus potential's demand, and your fingers find only the cold, hard reality of your own limitations. You stumble, you fall, you rise again, but you cannot break free. Pain sears hip. Fear grips you, a permanent reminder of the contact. You collapse to the floor, lungs burning, heart hammering against your ribs. The room is silent again, but you are not the person who stood here moments ago. You lie on the floor, the ache in your hip pulsing in time with your heart. Every throb is a reminder of the contact. You try to push yourself up, but your limbs feel heavy, weighted by the gravity of what just occurred. You look at your hands, expecting them to be empty, but they are clenched tight, as if holding the very essence of the encounter. The pain is not a punishment. It is a seal. You realize that the struggle was never meant to be won, but to be endured. The resistance you fought against was the friction required to ignite your own dormant potential. You shift your weight, feeling the sharp protest of your body, and you finally understand. The limp is not a defect. It is a testament. It is the proof that you were present, that you were engaged, and that you survived the fire. Your ego, which once craved comfort and ease, is now silent. In its place, a new clarity takes root. You are not the same person who walked into this room. The purpose you were searching for was never hidden in the distance. It was forged in the heat of your own resistance. You stand up slowly, favoring the side that hurts, and walk with a deliberate rhythm. The world outside continues to hum, but you are no longer tuned to its frequency. To hear what comes next, you must first clear the channel. Reach into your pocket. Feel the cold, smooth glass of your device. It is a portal to 1,000 voices, a constant stream of demands, opinions, and distractions. Hold it for a moment, feeling its weight, and then set it down. Let it go. Walk to the center of the room. Find a space where you can sit without being watched or interrupted. The floor is hard, but it is real. Lower yourself until your weight is fully supported by the ground. Close your eyes. At first, the noise will not leave. It will rush in to fill the vacuum. You will hear the echoes of your own anxieties, the unfinished tasks, the phantom notifications. Do not fight them. Do not try to solve them. Simply sit. Watch the thoughts drift by like clouds in a storm. Breathe. With every exhale, imagine the tension leaving your shoulders, your jaw, your hands. The room begins to settle. The frantic pace of your pulse slows to a steady, rhythmic beat. The static in your head thins until it dissolves into the quiet. You are finally here. You are finally empty. Now that the static has faded, the world begins to speak in a different language. It does not use words. It uses events. You open your eyes and look at the room, but you see it differently. You are no longer looking for utility. You are looking for resonance. Think of those moments that defy simple probability. A song plays on the radio just as you think of a long-lost friend. A book falls from a shelf, open to the exact page that answers your current dilemma. These are not accidents. They are winks from the universe. Heed fate's whispers, a stranger's words, a sudden thought. These synchronicities are the markers on your map. They are the breadcrumbs left by your deeper self. They appear only when you are quiet enough to notice them. If you are rushing, they vanish into the background noise. If you are distracted, they are invisible. But when you are still, the world becomes a mirror. Watch the patterns. Trust the timing. The universe is not silent. It is waiting for you to catch the frequency. Look down at your hands. Trace the lines on your palms. You have spent your life believing you are merely meat and bone, a collection of biological impulses reacting to a harsh world. This is the great illusion. You are not a solitary actor in a play with no script. You are a vessel, a hollow, waiting space designed to hold something far older and wiser than your ego. Place your hand over your chest. Feel the steady, rhythmic thud of your heart. That is not just a pump. It is the engine of your purpose. There is a force within you that is rooting for your success, even when you are busy sabotaging your own growth. It does not speak in the loud, frantic tones of your inner critic. It speaks in the quiet, persistent pull toward your true potential. When you feel the sudden, sharp intuition to change your direction, or that inexplicable pull to move toward the unknown, that is not a random tremor. That is the deeper self reaching out. It is the architect of your life, reminding you that you are never truly alone in the dark. The next time you feel that nudge, that strange pull, or that quiet command, listen. Do not look away. Do not dismiss it as a trick of the mind. That is the moment the veil thins. That is the moment you stop merely existing and start participating in your own destiny. Put down your defenses. Let the noise of the world fall away until only the frequency of your own truth remains. It is not a distant God calling from the stars. It is the heartbeat of your own deeper self, echoing from within. When you finally stop running, you will find the messenger and the message are one. You are finally meeting your own soul.
Thank you for watching Frequency XO Productions. And remember, never give up on yourself.